going on, guys? Brendan from Plumber here. Today's video is about a specific tool bag that I carry in my van because at this point in my plumbing career, I'm doing a lot of water heaters, a lot of water heater installations. So I've dedicated a tool bag just for that. Most of the tools in this tool bag are just for water heater installations only. Some of them are pretty generic tools or pretty general plumbing tools that you're going to see most plumbers carry. However, these tools I've set aside and put in a specific bag just because I'm going to need them most likely in some of the water heater installations that I'm doing on a weekly basis. A lot of these tools that you're going to see are tools that I have pretty much phased out of some of my other bags. They're getting a little bit older. And so I've kind of thrown them into this bag. That way when I get to a job and I know I'm doing a water heater installation, I can grab this bag and go, and I know it's going to get me through most of the installation, if not all of it, outside of some specific power tools like a transfer pump or a Sawzall or some other tools like that. But without further ado, I'm going to show you the bag. Also, guys, if you like this content, please consider subscribing. Leave a comment on what you might want to see in future videos, and also like the video if you like the video. Here we go. All right, guys. So here's the tool bag. And just before we begin, this is a, in case you're wondering, this is a Tough Built tool tote. I just picked this bag up on a whim, really, because I was just searching for a quick bag that I could use for my water heater installations. And so I was in Lowe's one day, I saw this bag, it was on sale, I can't remember what the price was, it was relatively cheap. And usually I would probably go for something like Husky or something like that. But again, it was on a whim, so I was in Lowe's and I just grabbed it just because it was on sale. And I've been using it for about 6 months now, and it's working out pretty well. The material's, you know, pretty well, pretty good material, sorry. Seems to be pretty well made. Nothing's gone wrong with it. Pretty tough pockets and everything like that. Nothing torn, nothing ripped. So it's working out pretty well for you. And this is a, you know, relatively heavy bag. Not a crazy amount of tools, but it's still pretty heavy. So, all right, here we go. Let's get into the tools. So we'll probably just start with the middle pocket. In the middle pocket, I carry an impact driver, just a little Milwaukee M12. Right now, I just got this nut driver on here, this reversible Malco nut driver. I can't even get this thing off. There we go. It's just got a remote reversible bit on it. Set that aside. Next, we just got some sand cloth, some cleaning cloth. I'm dealing with a lot of copper, mostly, on most of these water heater installations. So I need some sand cloth. Pipe dope. Use pipe dope on pretty much every installation, so keep this in the middle pocket as well. Some CPVC glue. A lot of the TNP lines that I'm running on these heaters, I just either transition to CPVC or they already are. So I need CPVC glue, tape measure, wire brush, pipe cleaner. These are auto cutters by General. These are 3/4 auto cutters. I love these things. They cut so fast. They work great. Good copper cutters there. Here's some adjustable cutters if I need to go a little bit smaller. These are just 3/4 because most of the time you're going to be dealing with 3/4 pipe on a water heater. But I need some adjustable ones if I'm going to cut anything mostly smaller. I think these might cut up to 1 inch, but really it's for, you know, something that's smaller. Carry some plumbing grease. I'm not entirely too sure why I have this in here. I've probably used it, I'm sure, but plumbing grease. Carry a couple different types of reamers in here. This Husky one right here, it's not very good, to be honest with you. It's already pretty rusted out. I mean, it still works. It's a reamer chamfer tool. It's double-sided, but yeah, it doesn't seem to be too good of quality, but you get what you pay for. I think this thing was pretty cheap. Now this thing, again, you get what you pay for, is pretty expensive. This is the rigid double-sided reaming tool or reaming chamfer tool. But this thing is awesome. It's really heavy. It just works really well. I've had this for quite a long time, even though it looks, you know, like it's in pretty good condition, but I love this tool. I don't know why I have both in here, but it's just kind of added weight. There's just another cleaning brush. You can clean the outside of copper with this. It's got 3/4 and 1/2 inch on either side. Some tin snips, or aviator snips is what I believe they might technically be called. But these are kind of going bad. They won't even lock anymore. They still work, but they cut pretty poorly now at this point. I do need to replace them, but I need these for, you know, cutting flue or whatever. This is just an extension right here if I need to get in tight spaces. I also have my Phillips on this, so I can just swap it out on my drill. Got my meter key or meter tool. I used to have a lot nicer one. This Husky one kind of stinks in my opinion, but it's got a couple different types of keys on here. And you can use this to turn off the dead head as well in the meter can. It works. That's all I can say about it. It's not the best, but it works. So keep that in here. I got a couple various like screwdrivers in here. These are both Phillips. I got some smaller little screwdrivers. Again, not sure what I use these for, to be honest with you. Maybe knocking some pins out of doors if I have to remove them, but they don't get used often. That's kind of why they're thrown away in this pocket, but you never know when you need them, I guess. Demolition tool by Milwaukee. It's full tang. Really nice tool. I use this a lot, chipping out mortar, chipping out dip tubes if I need to suck a heater out if it's not draining properly. Whatever, I just beat the crap out of stuff with this tool. I love that tool. This is just a small little Phillips head screwdriver. I think it's like a Pittsburgh brand. This is I think a 8-in-1, if I'm not mistaken. It's got nut drivers. It's got Phillips and flathead. I usually grab this like first thing when I'm starting to take everything off a heater and to drain the heater. Just a random Husky flathead. A basin wrench, probably mainly for, you know, turning the meter off or something like that if it gets a little tight in there, the deadhead. If it's hard to reach with this other tool, or I don't have enough room, or with the meter tool, sorry. If I don't have enough room, then, it's this end. If I need to get in tighter spaces, I can use this. I'm sure I've used this for other reasons. This is one of my favorite tools anyway. It's a great tool, but I've had this tool forever too. So there's a basin wrench, some needle nose pliers. Not sure, I don't use these obviously on a daily basis either, but there is points in time where I have had to pull these out, so I keep them in the bag. And some of these tools might have not originally been in here, and they could have been added later, and this could have been one of them. Probably because I found some sort of use case for it, or I've needed it more than once, so I just kept it in the bag. This is like some electrician's pliers and they're kind of wire cutters. This is just Husky brand as well. This is when I'm doing electrical work on water heaters. Got a pair of diagonal cutters. It's just to cut some stuff. It could be some wiring. It could be some zip ties. I just grabbed these. I'm sure I've had to use this a few times. So it's just stayed in the bag. Small little channel locks for some tight spaces. Some adjustable wrenches, or a crescent wrench, just a couple different sizes. So we'll get over here. We'll save the channel locks for last, I guess. We'll just get this pocket. This is like a quickie wrench, kind of almost like a pipe wrench, but made by Crescent. This thing's okay. I don't use it too often. Most of the time I'm going to grab this, I'm going to use it for backup when I'm taking something apart or I'm tightening something down, maybe black iron, maybe brass, I don't know. But it works out sometimes, but I find myself having to adjust it instead of just being able to put it on the pipe and it grabbing it and tightening itself on. So it's not bad. It's good enough to stay in the tool bag. A hammer. I'm sure you can think of a million ways to use a hammer. So I keep one in the bag. I keep a small pipe wrench for tight spaces. And then I keep a larger pipe wrench to give me more leverage to break bigger things apart. So you're a plumber, you need a pipe wrench, right? These are some ratcheting cutters. Mainly use this for PVC or CPVC whenever I'm doing my TNP or a pan line or something like that. So got to have that. A level. Don't need it too often, but it just kind of depends on the job, but got to have a decent level. And then channel locks. So I have several different pair of channel locks because a lot of times you need to hold back up on something. And so I keep usually 4 pair. I do have a helper. And so when I'm kind of taking things apart from the water heater, I'll give him a couple pair of channel locks and he can start working on, you know, the sediment trap or something like that on the water heater while I'm taking the water heater apart. So a couple different pair of channel locks. These are some old Wildies, I believe they are. Or you can call them water pump pliers or whatever. I call them channel locks. This is a newer pair of channel locks. Well, I won't say newer. I've had it for a while, but this particular pair I haven't used too much, just because it remains in my service bag, and I got a few other pair of channel locks in my service bag. And this is essentially the older version of this. I've had this for quite a long time, and this is like the comfort grip, I think, on these. So haven't used these too much, but these are pretty much the same exact thing. These are the Knipex Cobras. And then we'll go to the outside here. I got a jab saw in case. That is one thing about this bag. Not so much a gripe because the bag's been great, but I wish they had like a hard shell or mold, like a plastic pocket that you could put like a jab saw in. But this is just for cutting sheetrock mainly. I do have like a hacksaw blade. Sometimes I'll just use this with my hand just to get in like tight spots or something like that. And then I do have a hacksaw, which some would say I can, this is, they're not the same, but, because this can accept different types of blades. And the teeth on this are, a lot more aggressive, but, I could use this. This is like a hacksaw, so I can use this to cut pipe or cut things in tighter spaces. I could also cut drywall with it. So, let's see here. This is the front of the bag. I do have some electrical tape in here that I use to tape up, just for, electrical stuff, and tape up wire nuts and stuff like that for some of the electrical water heaters. And then on the outside of the bag, I have duct tape so I can tape my insulation. That's mainly what I'm using it for. I run into a lot of shark bite, fittings. So I do have this shark bite like remover tool. I don't remember when I got this or how I got it, but it does make things a lot easier. I know you can just use, and I've always used like a crescent wrench or something like that to take it off, but that does make it a little bit easier, especially in tighter spaces. This is what I call, this isn't technically the front of the bag, I guess, but this is going to hold quite a few other things in. So Teflon tape, of course, you got to have that. I don't know what that is. I think this goes here. This is just a magnetic tool in case I drop something. It's like a retrieval tool basically, but what I use it for, I know this sounds silly, but I do keep some little self-tapping screws in here whenever I'm drilling stuff down on the water heater, the draft diverter or anything like that, or the flue. I need some screws. So I keep some little self-tapping screws in here, and I can't fit my big hands down in this pocket, but I like to carry the screws with me anyway. So I just use this, shove that down in there, grab me a few screws, put what I don't need back. So it kind of doubles as, a couple different things, but most of the time I'm using it for that right there, to be honest with you. And then we got the side right here, the other side. And then this is just a tool right here to see if something's got some electrical power to it. I just want to make sure, I'm not going to get shocked or anything like that when I'm turning the power off, or I think I'm turning the power off to something, water heaters in particular, obviously. So I want to make sure that there's no power to that unit. That's pretty much it, guys. Like I said, this tool bag has been pretty great, to be honest with you. It seems, pretty rugged. It's got a, looks like a blow mold, or just like kind of like a hard, plastic shell on the bottom, so it's pretty tough. This is like a steel bar right here. I don't ever hang anything on it. I don't even put my tape measure on this because I'm afraid it's going to fall off. I don't even know what this is, to be honest with you. I think it can kind of slide back and forth, but really I just use this bag. I kind of call it a beater bag, but I just use this bag just for my water heater installations. And I think it's nice to just be able to grab this bag and go in and get most of the things I need done when I'm installing a water heater. So hope you guys like this video. I'll see you on the next one.